Are you moving and you have an application with USCIS? Wondering how that will impact your case? Will it slow it down? Will it make you start again? On this week's tip of the week, I talk about the effect of moving on your immigration case. Keep watching to find out more. I'm immigration attorney Andres Mejer, and I help immigrants throughout the US and the world get an immigration status. I became an immigration attorney after having to figure out the immigration system myself, for my family, and for me. I came to the US as a child. For a long time, I didn't have a legal status. My experience made me want to help people who need a legal status as well. Thank you to everyone who watches our videos. I appreciate your likes, shares, and comments. If there's something you want to know about immigration, write a comment below and we'll try to answer it on our page or in a future video. Today, I'm going to talk about something that we get questions on all the time on our YouTube channel. What should I do about my immigration case because I moved? Many times during the immigration process, people might have to move. There are several types of moves: moving countries, moving cities or states, moving within the same city or state. And some of those might mean you are moving to a different USCIS office jurisdiction, and if you're moving countries, a different embassy. When I mean moving countries, this would be for someone outside the United States who has a relative, either US citizen or green card holder, applying for them to get legal status inside the US. If they move to a different country, it can be difficult to get an embassy interview in a different country than where they started the application process, especially if the case is started processing through the National Visa Center, NVC. The NVC will submit all information about the application to one embassy based on the location and based on your application. In whatever you're applying for, let's say a green card application, it actually asks you, where do you want to process the visa? And you make a selection: Santiago in Chile, US Embassy, or US Embassy in Buenos Aires, Argentina, because that's where you move to. Remember, if the US citizen who is applying for the out-of-country applicant moves, they must also notify USCIS of their change of address within 10 days of moving, so that any notifications are sent to the correct address. I always recommend that if you make a change of address online, print out the paper showing you submitted it and keep it in your file. Many people have experienced USCIS not updating their files and sending notifications to the wrong place. You may have some recourse if you can prove that you notified them and the error was on their part. So keep copies. Now I want to talk to people in the US who may be filing for a green card by marriage or citizenship. You've already started the process, so USCIS has your application, but it has not yet approved or denied it. How will moving during the time impact you and your USCIS case? I wish I could tell you it was as easy as submitting a change of address, but in some cases we have seen if your move causes you to have to be interviewed at a different office, your case can be delayed, and it can delay it for up to a year. There are two options. If you know you'll be moving, you can wait to file until after you move, but just be mindful, you might have to wait at least 3 months in that new jurisdiction. Or do everything you can to stay in your present location until your case is resolved. It could also create a delay in getting your work authorization if you move before you receive it. One way to help your case if you have to move is to hire an immigration attorney. You're probably wondering, well, how does hiring an immigration attorney help me? Well, when you hire an immigration attorney, their office can get a copy of everything the USCIS sends, meaning they can get your employment authorization card and green card for you, so it doesn't get lost in the mail. Because what happens if it gets mailed to the old address and you're not living there? They're not going to forward it to the new address. They'll send it back to USCIS and likely destroy it. So what about people who have applied for a legal status and their application is moving along, and then they move and now their interview must take place at another location? We have had people on YouTube channel ask us if you would be okay to just travel back to the old location and complete their interview there. It is really important, and the law, that if you do move, you tell USCIS within 10 days. USCIS does not like it if you move then don't tell them. As I say in so many of my videos, always be honest with USCIS. That includes being honest with them about your current life and life circumstances. They do background checks. It would be really frustrating for you if they found out you moved, but you didn't tell them and they denied your case because you weren't honest. That's not likely to happen, but it could happen. It really depends on the local office where you're being interviewed. If you are only moving a short distance and not changing into a new USCIS territory boundaries, you shouldn't have any issues, meaning it shouldn't impact your case processing. If you're in southern New Jersey, you're going to be going to Mount Laurel. If you move in someplace within southern Jersey, it doesn't matter because you're still in the same office. However, if you live in New Jersey and you move to Philadelphia, for example, well, now you're going to the Philadelphia office rather than a New Jersey one. Because in New Jersey, we got two, Mount Laurel or Newark. Again, everyone must file an AR-11. That is how you notify USCIS about your address change. That's the form. And you got to do that within 10 days of your move. I know I already said this, but it bears repeating. I recommend you keep a copy of this notification showing that you notified USCIS. So if you print it out online, be sure the date of notifying USCIS shows on the printout, because we've seen many circumstances when people have notified USCIS in a timely manner and USCIS system doesn't process that for whatever reason. Documents are sent to the wrong location, the person's missing getting important notification, which could result in removal. If you didn't hire an immigration attorney before you moved, you may want to consider doing that when you move. An attorney can help with making sure all the notices and documents are received so you don't miss anything important. I'm not saying you can't or shouldn't move while going through an immigration process. Just keep in mind that it can delay your case and is important to think about before making that decision. I hope that answers any questions you have about moving during trying to get a green card or citizenship. If it didn't, post them below. I'll try to cover them in a future week. Thanks for watching. I'm here to help you make your immigration journey as smooth as possible. Stay healthy and be well.